The dud in the 96 turf. Tomorrow, Slammed is going to run in the Fillion Mare Sprint. Maybe a live long shot. Maybe a chance for a breakthrough for New Mexico. And then that
over 6 furlongs, but his style of racing is to gradually build himself into the race.
I'm up against it. That's my pick, Persian Force. The 7 Oxymore turning back in distance. I like this move for Chad Brown. The 8 American Apple comes in off a decent win last time out in the Matron. That was over softer ground. The 9 Sharp as attack. I bumped into 3 or 4 connections. They're easy to spot around here. They're all wearing their Breeders' Cup hats. And every single one of them keeps telling me the 9 will run a huge race. The 10 Tyler's Tribe. Todd, we like this horse. I think, you know, the sentimental story here, just imagine it, just enough as if the grass will affect the performance of the 10. Speedboat Beach. We bumped into Bob Baffert last night, and he said, this is the last time you'll see Speedboat Beach on the grass. He'll be back on the dirt after this race, unless there's another $1 million sprint turf race around. What about the 12?
And the Platinum Queen certainly has the ability to win the
game, or is it even?
It is, but they've got a better chance here than on the dirt. You don't get the kickback. I think that's pretty severe in sprint racing. Look, when Wesley Ward, look, American gate horses just break a whole lot sharper than European horses. That's fact. You add the Wesley Ward factor on top of that, and his horses break sharpest of any American horse. I mean, this is what he does from a young age. And there's a lot that goes into that. There's a bell in the gate. I think I always had a third.
his race, and he would look to find room late on to get up. Get late on the scene and try and get there. Whereas a horse like Platinum Queen is against the normal run of things in Europe, but she's naturally like that, and they try to rein her back, but she can't be held back. So they've allowed her to run, and suddenly they've got this speedball on their hands.
Well, in charge of her is Holly Doyle. What can you tell us to our American audience about jockey Holly Doyle?
Holly Doyle is making another appearance in the Breeders' Cup. She has been here before. The beauty about Holly Doyle is the fact that she has made her way to the top. Her soon-to-be husband, Tom Marquand, they travelled over together from the UK. She had a stint in Japan. Now she's back over here. It's 13
5. So all 5 championship races comprise a pick 5 here. The pool right now at an astonishing $2.7 million. We're 2 minutes away from the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. The entire wagering menu on this race: win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta wagering, super high 5 wagering, and then horizontally speaking, daily double, pick 3, pick 5, and a very unique wager in all turf pick 3 with a $3 minimum. So a turf race here, the next 2 turf races to follow, you can put into your own turf pick 3 for a $3 minimum. So Rishi, we get your perspective on the horses coming over here, but are you willing sometimes to look into a race and accept, okay, America's got the better horse here? When you look at this race, is this a race where America probably beats Europe?
I most certainly believe there's at least one race today where I think America can beat Europe on the turf. I think Love Reigns is the one to beat here, personally. Platinum Queen I'm against because of all the issues, never been round a bend, she's drawn out wide, she leans left. I think Dramatized might be the best of the Euros in this race. The Dramatized that won the Queen Mary at Ascot would be by far the best horse of the Euros in this race, the best horse suited to the conditions of this race. The fact that she's had a bit of practice round the bend as well at Southwell. Carl Burke, her trainer, has had a stellar standout year with his 2-year-olds. He's had the strongest crop of 2-year-olds that he's ever had, and she was the leader of his pack in the summer. The fact that he was encouraged by what she did when she went to Southwell after that run at York in August, and he felt that it was worth having a go at the Breeders' Cup, means that it's worth paying a lot of respect to her. And the fact that Ryan Moore's in the saddle as well, I think there are a lot of positives. The 13-1 that I'm looking at the moment on Dramatized, I think that's generous. At least win, play, show.
I like the sound of that. And the beauty about sitting in the middle, I got a US citizen here, British subject here.
And you're somewhere in between.
Yeah, I have 2 passports, so I can root for both. It's like being an assistant trainer. When a horse wins, you say I did a great job. When they lose, it's the trainer's fault. I'm in a no-win situation. I'm in a win-win situation.
No, when I'm listening to Rishi, I sometimes have to remind myself, wait, you're part of the show, because I'm so mesmerized by what he said. I'm like, I feel like I'm at home. I mean, it's so fantastic. Fantastic insight, Rishi. So happy to have you here with us. The Pick 5 pool about to go past $3 million. You got to get your plays in now because the field has stepped on the turf course. The turf course is listed as firm. All right, we heard the bottom line from Rishi. What about you, Simon?
I think some of the Europeans are users in here, but I'll focus on a couple of the American runners. Outside of Love Reigns, I think Private Creed, the 3, currently at 8-1 for Steve Asmussen, should get a nice trip. Won't be too far back, won't be on the lead with Love Reigns, and I think gets that perfect trip. The 7 Oxymore, Chad Brown. Kind of what Rishi was saying about Charlie Appleby. This is a horse that maybe could have gone on to some distance races. Juvenile turf, they cut back in distance here, electing for what probably is a softer spot compared to that race. So I'll use the several in here in a pick 5 situation. 3, 5, 6, 7, 10.
With the expanded format, this is one of the great races over the 2 days at the Breeders' Cup because it's $1 million. It's a true rarity, $1 million for 2-year-olds sprinting on the turf. The field is moving into line for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. We do see an adjustment on the 4 Dramatized here, we think. We do see the rider off. It looks like they're just adjusting the saddle. It must be because they're not stopping the loading process.
No, sometimes you get a little worried in that situation if there's going to be a late scratch, but they're not. They're just obviously going to go ahead. this was the horse I think we saw gate schooling on Breakfast of the Breeders' Cup with the blindfolds on in the morning, right? And the North American assistant starter's not used to that situation. He went to the gate a couple of times. They've loaded some of the others, Rishi, and I think they're well prepared for it. It looks like they took the blind off there, or the hood off, I think.
Yeah, and the original shots we saw, it looked to me they were just readjusting the overgirth. Okay. Sometimes, as you know, it just pinches a little bit. When they get down to the start, worth making a quick check to make sure that there's nothing that untoward.
Pick 5 pool now past $4 million. It's the first of 14 championship races over 2 days and the first of 5 on this day. It is the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint here at Keeneland. Let's go up for the call.
They are at the post. And they're off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Oxymore for the lead. Love Reigns is there. The Platinum Queen, Speedboat Beach have early speed. American Apple kicks in as well and moves up along with Tyler's Tribe. Speedboat Beach ahead in front. Tyler's Tribe is right there to the inside of that one. American Apple down to the rail third. The Platinum Queen is fourth up on the outside. Lady Hollywood fifth. Love Reigns is sixth in between horses. Persian Force going to be a wide seventh onto the far turn. Oxymore drops back on the outside in eighth. Dramatized is in ninth. Private Creed, heavy traffic there in 10th, running 6 from the front around the turn. Sharpest Attack is in 11th, and Mischief Magic is last of the 12, 21.65 seconds, the time for the opening quarter. American Apple from the inside, Speedboat Beach, Persian Force on the outside, Dramatized looking for room against the rail, Persian Force, Dramatized coming up the inside, Private Creed is still 5 from the front, Dramatized charging up the rail toward the lead, Persian Force is still there, the Mischief Magic, what a run, Mischief Magic bursting through a crowd. Mischief Magic, tremendous stretch run for William Buick to win the Juvenile Turf Sprint. 1 minute, 2.41 seconds, and that is a stakes record.
It's like he never left, because he didn't. Charles Appleby is back at the Breeders' Cup and already putting on a show. It's Mischief Magic, picking him up and laying him down like a house of cards. But how did William Buick pull off this win?
I mean, this goes against everything we were talking about for the European horses. He's dead last here, Richie. I don't know whether we can pick it up. Look at him here. Dead last down the backside. I mean, at this juncture, you think he's got nowhere to go. Buick has got a ton of horse. He's looking to climb over horses here and just waiting and waiting and waiting, and it parts like the Red Sea. Well, actually angles to the outside and comes running late.
This is our champion jockey we're talking about now. Champion jockey for the first time in the UK. He is riding with more confidence and more skill than he's ever done. And when you're doing that, you can see things in a way that normal humans can't.
No, and he had to here, because he had every reason to get stopped maybe 2 or 3 times in the stretch, but yet every time he picked out a spot, he found a way. This is a unique view. We had an isolated camera on William Buick as he has to make these decisions with Mischief Magic.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got nowhere to go. I mean, he's got the decisions are made for him here, Rishi. He can't come wide. Yeah. He has to just sit and suffer, and hopefully something splits and opens up.
And it does, but he has to have the horse to be able to help him in a situation like this. Because if you have missing a beat, your game's over. But the horse is brave as well to go through that gap there, just colouring Persian Force, and then eventually Pippin Dramatized late on, Private Creed running on to take third.
Todd, Europeans
dominated.
Comprise 3 of the top 4 here. The disappointment is the top 5, excuse me. The disappointment is Love Reigns, who showed speed and just backed up willingly. The 12th Platinum Queen was giving Holly Doyle all kinds of issues down the backside there, but this was a very professional performance, I think.
This horse, when I was working at Kempton 2 races ago, where we looked at what looked to be a good 2-year race called the Cyrinia Stakes, and I was working with a guy, and I said to him, what do you think about this field? He said, I don't think we'll see a superstar that day. After the race, in fairness, he said Mischief Magic might be a superstar, but then he let the side down a little bit when he ran 4th in the Middle Park Stakes. He just didn't pick up This was the mischief magic that we saw in the Serenia Stakes. And perhaps it was just the lightning speed, because they went much harder 2 starts ago. And certainly today they went hard enough for him to allow him to get into the race, and perhaps that is the key to Mischief Magic producing his best, a really strong pace.
And now Mischief Magic owns the fastest time in this race for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, going 5.5 furlongs in 1:02.2. Posted on the board 5.4361. Rishi, that was a nice pick on Dramatized. You got to kind of tip your hat to what Mischief Magic did here, but Dramatized did come back to form as you suspected. The 5 Mischief Magic going off at 6-1, over the 4 Dramatized at 12-1, over the 3 Private Creed at 10-1, then the 6 Persian Force in 4th, up on the board at 5-1, and 3rd the 1 Lady Hollywood at 30-1. So looking at Chuck Appleby's yard and what you know with what he brought over here, where was this horse ranking as one of his chances?
When I spoke to him yesterday, he seemed to think that Modern Games was by far the best. Okay. He felt he had 2 strong chances in the turf with Rebels Romance and Nation's Pride. Silver Knot in the juvenile turf, still to come today. Those were the principal ones. The 2 sprinters, Naval Crown and Creative Force, they got a bit of task on their hand against Highfield Princess and, of course, Golden Pal. I think Mischief Magic, in the grand scheme of things, was probably just ahead of them. So I think overall, his better chances are still to come.
So 6 for 11. 6 for 11 coming in, right?
7 from 12.
7 from 12. There's a chance he could walk out of here 9 for 17, something like that.
That's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just not right. I know that he hasn't had that many runners so far, but that's still incredible. 7 from 12, and he's still got, according to him, his best chance is still to come.
When he brings we've talked about this all week, the horses he brings over here, they look so well suited to American. To your point, they're hand-picked. All the best ones, the classics, they're on holiday in Dubai. Yeah. They're going over there. These aren't their top class 2-year-olds that they bring.
So this horse ran in the Middle Park Stakes, and he was the only horse that represented Charlie Appleby in the Middle Park Stakes, because the horse who had been favourite for the Middle Park Stakes was Charlie Appleby's #1 sprinter, a horse called Noble Style, who's won 3 starts so far, all 3, and by far his best sprinting 2-year-old. And when I say by far, I mean he's 2 grades up on this horse.
And we have gone official in our Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. It is Mischief Magic getting the win and returning $15.84. A homebred for Godolphin. Buy, Exceed, and Excel out of the elusive quality mare Veil of Silence, bred in Ireland. And now your stakes record holder here in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
It's a nice situation to be able to your bench players or your B-string horses and get the job done.
We did, we have to follow up a story here. Tyler's Tribe, we did have sighting of Kylie Jordan, did dismount Tyler's Tribe shortly after the wire. We, at least from observation, have not seen Tyler's Tribe in any type of serious distress, but was vanned off for precautionary reasons. If there's more here with Tyler's Tribe, we will pass it on to you here on the Players Show. So we have gone official in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Sprint. Coming up next, we will go to the main track. It's the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. You are watching the Breeders' Cup Players Show. Coming up more.
And they're off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Oxymore for the lead. Love Reigns is there. The Platinum Queen, Speedboat Beach have early speed. American Apple kicks in as well and moves up along with Tyler's Tribe. Speedboat Beach ahead in front. Tyler's Tribe is right there to the inside of that one. American Apple down to the rail 3rd. The Platinum Queen is 4th up on the outside. Lady Hollywood 5th. Love Reigns is 6th in between horses. Persian Force going to be a wide 7th onto the far turn. Oxymore drops back on the outside in 8th. Dramatized is in 9th. Private Creed, heavy traffic there in 10th, running 6th from the front around the turn. Sharpest Attack is in 11th, and Mischief Magic is last of the 12, 21.65 seconds, the time for the opening quarter. American Apple from the inside, Speedboat Beach, Persian Force on the outside, Dramatized looking for room against the rail, Persian Force, Dramatized coming up the inside, Private Creed is still 5 from the front, Dramatized charging up the rail toward the lead, Persian Force is still there, the Mischief Magic. What a run. Mischief Magic bursting through a crowd. Mischief Magic. Tremendous stretch run for William Buick to win the Juvenile Turf Sprint. 1 minute, 2.41 seconds, and that is a stakes record.
It's like he never left.
The best 2-year-old by legendary sire Quality Road.
In the back, $1,005,000.
Very, very impressive debut. Cantering home. Could not have been more impressive.
Coast to coast in the American Pharaoh. He's the real deal.
Undefeated and unchallenged at 2.
He's just too good. He wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Corniche.
Corniche, the newest champion to Coolmore, America.
This is a Kentucky Thoroughbred. This is a Kentucky-built Powerfoil industrial fan. Like a Thoroughbred, it too delivers unrivaled performance. And while they both run with purpose and pride, this one runs to keep your workforce feeling cool and comfortable. Powerfoil, the best-selling big fan in the world. BigFans.com. Exceptionally engineered.
Anybody going? 70, 50, 75, 850, 75, 175. Sprout, 850,000. Thank you.
Volatile, just like that. In front by 3, now by 4. And the time, 107.57.
As they pass the 16th pole, Volatile, victorious in the Vanderbilt. 1 by 2 lengths.
850,000. Thank you.
Looking to give your handicapping game a sharper focus? RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. Customized PPs, summary and individual research, handicapping angles and backtesting, true odds predictive analysis, and pace projection. With innovative analytics powered by data from Equibase, it will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level. RaceLens, bringing clarity to handicapping. Learn more at equibase.com/racelens.
It's time to bet the race, and FanDuel Racing has entered the starting gate. Download the FanDuel Racing app, and you're off. It's super easy to use from the start. Make every moment more with tools to help you win on the inside. Watch out for great promos and easy deposits. And here comes fast payouts. It's super easy to use. It's fast payouts. It's super easy. There's no doubt about it. The best place to bet is FanDuel Racing.
New customers bet the Breeders' Cup and get up to $100 back if your horse doesn't win.
Jockey Joel Rosario has won 3 of the last 4 runnings of the $2 million NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies at 1 1/16 miles. In 2018, the Dominican native scored a front-running win aboard Jaywalk at Churchill Downs. 2 years later at Keeneland, Rosario kicked clear along the rail on VIVO, and then made it back-to-back wins in this race when he guided the Steve Asmussen-trained Echo Zulu to victory last year at Del Mar by a widening 5 1/4 lengths to clinch the champion 2-year-old filly title. This is the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
Todd Fletcher with a pair here, and let's start with Chocolate Gelato because this horse has been ultra impressive. What makes her so good?
Well, she has high cruising speed. What I was pleased with in the Frisette was with the off conditions, she got shuffled back a little bit, took some slop in the face, and still finished well. And that was a stretch out to a mile that gives us encouragement that she can handle a little more ground.
Atomically's new to the barn. What have you seen from her since you've had your hands on her?
It's been very straightforward, very professional. She's had 2 good breezes in company with Chocolate Gelato, which is a good indication that she fits.
There's a private purchase like this. How much input do you have on it, and was this the plan upon purchase?
Aaron Wellman put it all together, and he called me and said he'd bought the filly and asked me if I'd take her, and I said I'd be delighted to. So it's as simple as that.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Number 5, Wonder Wheel, sent out by Mark Cassidy, comes back to the site of her Grade 1 win in the Darley Alcibiades. How did she react out of that race, Mark?
I thought she, moved forward. I think she's trained much better since the race. This is a tough race, though. Very tough. Lots of speed.
She done in her trading to suggest that she's doing better?
I just think she's a happier horse. For the Alcibiades, we got here 4 or 5 days ahead before because that's what we couldn't get in here, and she's got to stay here now for a month. So it's I think she's thrived through that.
With all the speed in this race, how does that change your approach?
Well, that's up to Tyler. He's one of the best. We're going to let him figure that out. If she breaks running and nobody goes, which I don't see happening, she'll be on the lead. But hopefully she's shown she can rate. So I don't think you want to be too far back, though. Speed looks pretty good, unless you're on the turf just then. That was amazing.
Good luck to you here in the Juvenile Fillies.
Thank you.
And welcome back to our set just off the winner's circle here. It is the Breeders' Cup Players Show. I'm Todd Trupp, along with Simon Bray. And joining us for the first time is Christina Blacker. Christina, happy Breeders' Cup Day.
Happy Breeders' Cup. What a ride we just saw from William Buick.
And looking at this race ahead, tactics are going to probably be everything in here. Last time out, Wonder Wheel, we were just talking about with Mark Casse, this horse looked unstoppable at the top of the stretch, and they got close late.
One more jump, and it looked like Chop Chop was going to catch her in the Alcibiades here last out. And you're seeing that really reflected in the wagering right now. Wonder Wheel at 7-1 up there on the board, the winner of the Alcibiades versus Chop Chop, who was also visually so impressive in that race. She was away slowly. She started to pick up horses coming down the backstretch, a very long, sustained run, and especially so for a 2-year-old filly. The short stretch really saved Wonder Wheel last out. Chop Chop, I wonder what kind of a race she'll run today, if she breaks better and if she's closer to the pace.
Yeah, you got the top 3 finishers all coming back out of the Alcibiades, and Wonder Wheel is currently the longest of those 3. And it goes, I think, that she got an easy lead. Grand Love, who finished third and would, caused a little bit of trouble there, bumping, I thought ran a good race. But Chop Chop, to me, she broke slow, Todd. She was running against, or running into a lone pace setter. I thought she was up against it from that standpoint. And I said earlier the week, Joe Rosario elects to ride this filly. Normally on a regular race day, I wouldn't handicap jockeys, but in a situation like this, I think there's no loyalty. Trainers and jockeys pick their best mounts. He's won 3 of the last 4 runnings of this race. I think he's sitting on the right one here.
Scott?
Yeah, we've got Joel Rosario getting ready to team back up with Chop Chop. Joel, what happened with this filly when she left the starting gate in the Darley Alcibiades?
Yeah, she broke out and looked like she don't show me a lot of speed. She don't show a lot of speed, and yeah, we kind of have to ride it from there. And then she put a nice run at the end, and then thought for a second we're gonna get there, but yeah, man, she ran a tremendous race.
Think she's got a little bit more in her leaving the starting gate, a sharper break today?
Yeah, we're looking forward. Hopefully she get out of there a little quicker, hopefully we're a little forwardly placed, and then take them from there.
Good luck, Joel.
Thank you.
I'm over here now with Phil Serpy, who sends out the 13, Leave No Trace. She won the Grade 1 spin away, and then last time out in the Frizette, on paper, it looks like it could just be a situation she didn't like the track. Is that how you felt, or was there another excuse?
No, I think, things don't go your way all the time, and she kind of left there and hit the side of the gate leaving there. The track was, in pretty rough shape, and I just think it was one of those days, that circumstances. You just have to kind of move forward off of that, and she's come into this race in really good condition, and her works have been spectacular, so we're looking for a good race from her.
I'm glad that you mentioned her works, because she's going to stretch out to the longest distance she's ever traveled today, but she comes in with a 46 and change drill. Was that intentional to go that quick for the stretch?
She works fast. Some horses just have a tendency to work fast, which she's done before. She worked fast before she won the spin away, and when I tell you in 46 and change, a 2-year-old filly was going easy, she was going easy, and didn't take anything out of her. She came back from the work in great shape, and we're happy with her. We think she's ready to go.
Best of luck here.
Thank you.
That'd be Leave No Trace, guys, breaking from hole 13.
Our cheers to the breeder. It's an accomplishment to get here to the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and 3 Chimneys would like to cheer all the breeders represented here in race number 7, our second championship race of the 2 days here for the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland. You could be playing all this great racing action, and FanDuel, the official wagering partner of the Breeders' Cup, has a very special offer for you. It's a no-sweat first win bet up to $100. You can scan that QR code, or you get the details by going online. FanDuel, the official wagering partner of the Breeders' Cup. The field about to get a call for riders up here in the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile. 9-5 still, as our favorite is the 7 Chop Chop, but our second choice is the 10 Chocolate Gelato. How do we assess, first of all, the Frizette being at Aqueduct, because they have that unique meet, Belmont at Aqueduct, then it was on a sloppy racetrack. How do you view Chocolate Gelato in here?
Well, you have to put an asterisk next to that performance just by virtue of the track, right? The sloppy racetrack, that always has to come into consideration. Maybe it helped her, maybe it hurt some of the others. And the second thing is that's a one-turn mile, so there's a new dynamic here today, trying 2 turns for the first time. But you've got the top 3 finishes out of there. I know, Christina, you like the 2, who's currently at 5-1 coming out of that same race.
Yeah, I like You're My Girl in here, mostly because of her speed, because of the talent that she's shown in her first 2 starts. Now, she did finish second to Chocolate Gelato in the Frisette, but I have more confidence in her stretching out to the 2 turns today. She's a daughter of Overanalyze. Remember him from his 3-year-old season. He won the Arkansas Derby. He won the Remsen when he was younger. Whereas Chocolate Gelato, by practical joke, they're only at 18% for their first attempt at the 2 turns.
Let's check in with Mike Joyce before we get to the post parade.
Are we ready?
Brad Anderson, who's sending out Shoplifter here. I want to ask you about the decision to come in the Breeders' Cup. She showed a lot of promise early. When was that final decision made? Was it after the Pocahontas?
It was. And, you know, you have the points to get in. You make it in the field. Remember, wrestling 55-1. You got to take a shot. So.
With a 2-year-old, they can bounce in and out of form so quickly and progress so quickly. Have you been told how she's been doing coming out of that last race? Are you expecting a bigger performance today?
She's been working really well, and we've had a lot of time in between races. And last race of the year for her, put her away and bring her back as a 3-year-old.
What kind of a trip do you want to see?
I'd like to see the half and 44 and change. We'll be way back, about 10, 15 lengths back. Make 1 run. So.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
So about to get a call for riders up here and the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. A reminder of the wagering menu that you will find. Win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta, super high 5 wagering, and then horizontally speaking, daily double, pick 3. And Christina, take a look at the pick 4 pool. We haven't even left the paddock. We're about to get to $1 million. Tell us about the pick 4 ticket that you've assembled here.
I played a big ticket today for this late pick 4 sequence because I do think there are some horses in here at big prices that make a lot of sense. I mentioned You're My Girl. She's my top selection in here. Have some others as well. The horses coming out of the Alcibiades, Chocolate Gelato, and then all the way outside, Raging Sea is a horse that has a lot of ability. She was 3rd in the Alcibiades. She ended up disqualified and placed 4th after a little bit of greenness and some interference in the stretch. But I think she moves forward quite a bit out of that race. Lots of coverage for me in race number 8, which is the Juvenile Fillies Turf. I have a lot of respect for Meditate and for Midnight Mile, but they're both daughters of No Nay Never, and his 2-year-olds in the U.S. are just 1 for 19 at the mile distance. So I wanted to use some other horses in there. Delight is a horse that I like. Pleasant Passage, the 5 for Shug McGahee, has been very impressive in her first 2 starts. I think she's intriguing. Cave Rock is the single for me, for a lot of people as well. And then to the Juvenile Turf, Silver Mott. We'll see if Charlie Appleby can get another one today. The 6 and the winner is, I think, the U.S.'s best chance. And I also like Web Slinger. Outside for Mark Casse, he is 20-1 on the morning line. New rider announced this morning, Johnny Velasquez, the Hall of Famer, will be aboard.
For the 50-cent increment, that is a $63 play into the late pick 4. And even if you, as pointed out by Christina, look at Cave Rock as a free square, there's enough around the Cave Rock races to suggest it could still be a healthy return.
Oh, no question, yeah. And then the flip side of that, if you play against Cave Rock and he gets beat, then it's going to get nuts.
Can we play that game just real quickly? I know we'll do that later.
Okay.
But I'd love to know who you're thinking about. Before we do that, let's get down to Michelle Yu.
Joined right now by Peter Miller with And Tell Me No Lies. Pete, I saw you talking to Ramon. What were you telling him right now?
Well, I was telling him that Paco Lopez and DVD both got their first Breeders' Cups on one of my horses, and that it was his turn.
Tell me a little bit about this filly, how she's coming in here. Do you think the pace is going to set up good for her?
The pace should be hot. It looks like there's a lot of speed, so I think we're just going to let her settle and hope she comes running.
When you first got her to the races and she didn't win on debut, did you think, don't worry, it's going to be better the more ground she gets?
We always thought she'd be better with experience and distance, and she's proven us right.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Peter Miller got the daughter of Arrowgate going forward, And Tell Me No Lies.
So Peter Miller coming with a young filly and then coming with an older horse tomorrow in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. CZ Rocket trying to get it done at the advanced age in his career. But with these young, promising 2-year-old fillies and Tell Me No Lies, She's basically won every race you would want to win as a 2-year-old filly in California, yet she's 15-1.
Well, she's never gone off even close to the favorite. I mean, look at her average off odds. I think she's fooled the public. She hasn't fooled the connections. You and I personally know that they've always thought very highly of And Tell Me No Lies. They were a little disappointed she didn't win first time out. Yes, her numbers are not fast enough. And I know, Christina, you probably speak to that. You follow the numbers. But maybe she just runs to her competition, you know? Maybe as the races get faster, she's going to get faster with them.
She looks like that by virtue of her margins of victory. She comes in here on a 3-race win streak, but she's a winner by a neck. She's the winner by a head. She's a winner by 3/4 of a length. She's not the type that's going to blow you away and kind of put the field away and kick clear like a horse like Atomically has in a couple of her starts there. She just passed the 8 at 7-1. But And Tell Me No Lies, to the point of those Thorograph figures and some of the other speed figures, she's several points slower. It does look like, at least on paper, speed figure-wise, she does need to get a lot faster to win today.
Let's meet the field for the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, starting with the 1, Vegas Magic.
Who ran behind the aforementioned And Tell Me No Lies, was beaten 12 lengths, tries 2 turns for the first time today.
The 2-horse You're My Girl, keep in mind she was supplemented to the Breeders' Cup, not originally nominated. She broke her maiden by 14 lengths first time out, was second to Chocolate Gelato in the Frisette.
Tell Me No Lies looking to give Ramon Vasquez his first Breeders' Cup win. This filly gave him his first Grade 1 win here in North America.
The 4-horse Sabra Tough is 60-1 off the board in her last 2 starts. She has been beaten by several of these in the past, just 1 for 5 lifetime.
Wonder Will, we touched on her, winner of the local prep here, the Alcibiades. She went gate to wire in that event. She's currently 6-1 here with Tyler Gaffleone aboard.
Almarosa is 90-1. She's the biggest price on the board right now. Daughter of Sharp Azteca was a 3 1/4 length winner at Delaware over a muddy surface last out. She had a perfect trip that day.
7 is Chop Chop, Joe Rosario. He's dominated this race in the last 4 years. He's won 3 of those 4 runnings. Looks to make it another one here with the favorite at 2-1 right now.
The 8-horse Atomically, the private purchase for Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, given to Todd Pletcher off her last win. She was very impressive at Gulfstream Park. Not sure who she was beating in that restricted company, but her numbers fit with the shorter prices in here.
Grand Love, the 9, comes into the picture here at 23-1. Big price for an Asmussen runner on Breeders' Cup Day.
Chocolate Gelato up next, the 10-horse at 9-2. The winner of the Grade 1 for Zed at the 1-turn mile over a sloppy track last out.
The 11 is Scratch. That's American Rocket. Shoplifter, the 12, 88-1. Seemingly has no chance, according to the betting public. Was second in the Pocahontas last time out.
Leave No Trace brushed the gate in the Frisette. That kind of set her off on a bad way in the early stages. She ended up 3rd behind Chocolate Gelato and You're My Girl.
And here's the 14 Raging Sea. Again, that 3rd place finisher in the Alcibiades that was DQ'd because they were a little experienced, a little green. Look for a much better effort today. Tough post.
Full field to contest the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. The Breeders' Cup Players Show continues. Watching the field warm up for the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and that pick 4 pool headed towards $2 million on the heels of a huge pick 5 as well. You can also see to the right of the odds are the pick 4 will pays of the middle pick 4, and they're very healthy as we've seen boxcar payoffs in the last few races. Are we going to see that streak end? How good of a favorite is the 7 Chop Chop?
She's I mean, look, she's no Cave Rock, who we're going to see in the Colts division earlier. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you single her in here, it's probably, you know, it's a brave single. I think there's some other options in here, definitely, but Cave Rock is the top to bottom is the key to this pick 4.
I think Brad Cox has a lot of confidence in Chop Chop. If you go back to October 7th, that day and that weekend, when they also ran the Jessamine, keep in mind her first 2 starts, Chop Chop were on the turf course, and she was undefeated at 2 for 2 in those races. Brad did not have another filly in the Jessamine. He very well could have entered her in that race, and as a stakes winner already herself, she would have gotten in. He chose the Alcibiades because he knew that this filly was going to take to the main track, and I think he always had his eye on this race, on the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies with her off that performance.
Christina, Todd Pletcher, while he's getting a lot of attention with the 10 Chocolate Gelato, as Mike Joyce talked to him about, he has a new horse in his barn, Atomically. Aaron Wellman of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners sought this one out, brought this one to the Pletcher barn. What do you make of this horse coming up from Florida?
So my concern with her is sometimes the numbers from Florida, the speed figures from Florida, no matter what kind of figures you follow, don't always transfer elsewhere, and you don't always see horses come back to run that fast on other surfaces. A tight track there, a fast track there, a speed favoring track at Gulfstream Park. But she's done nothing wrong in her last few starts. She's a daughter of Gervin, and keep in mind just how fashionable the young offspring of Gervin have been over the last year or so. They continue to improve. And her last race was very impressive. She made a big middle move. I think that's part of what everybody likes about Chop Chop, was looking at that middle move into a sustained run down the stretch. If you watch the replay from October 1st at Gulfstream, Atomically made the exact same type of move. She comes away with a strong thoroughgraph figure out of that race, and in fact, it's the exact same number that Chop Chop ran in her race. So if she comes back today with an equivalent performance, and if those speed figures transfer here to Keeneland, she has every bit of a chance, as much of a chance as Chop Chop to me. She's 7-1 right now. Jose Pinchin bred her. He breeds to race early and to sell if horses are impressive as 2-year-olds. He called her the best filly he's ever had before she was sold.
Well, that is strong. She's by a sire who's just getting started in Gervin.
Yeah, he is. Making a name for himself, and this would be a big victory here. But I mean, for so many years, you were based down in South Florida. Yeah. That was the breeding ground of 2-year-olds across North America, South Florida.
Literally the 2-year-old capital of the world. Yep. And a lot of horses would be plucked out of there to go on and have big careers elsewhere. And also do well on the Breeders' Cup stage, thinking of big names like Brave Raj in spots like this. And the pick 4 pool, about $1.5 million as they're in the spot where the starting gate will begin this race to go a mile and a 16th. And the 2 You're My Girl, Christina making the case for this horse. I know you like 2 sprints to a route, Simon. Does that count since it's a 1/3 mile and the 6 furlongs prior to that? Is she going to be as effective in open company as she was against New York breds in her debut?
Yeah, I don't think the distance is going to be a problem. The 2 sprints to a route, I think, is in play here because it's 1/3 mile. The question is, beating up on state breds is one thing. Coming here to the Breeders' Cup is another. She's proven she can fit, though. She ran with Chocolate Gelato. She's established her form. Chocolate Gelato sitting up here at 4-1. So it wouldn't surprise me if the 2 won here at all.
So we started out talking with trainer Mark Casse about Wonder Wheel. We've established the fact that the Alcibiades, there was a troubled trip there, but it is pretty amazing that the winner of that race is being let go here. Do you still take a negative stance against Wonder Wheel?
Well, I don't think I take a negative stance on her. I take a more positive stance on the second and third place finishes, if that makes sense.
Is that a clever way of not liking Wonder Wheel?
It's a nice way of saying no thank you. I think the one thing that you have to give her, in addition to being a Grade 1 winner already, let's keep in mind the residual value that this daughter of Into Mischief already holds, is the fact that she has improved in every start. I know she was second in the spin away, but that race was off a layoff, and she looks like she keeps getting better. And I would point to her workout here on October 21st, which was following the Alcibiades, 47-3, best of 35. She might still be blossoming right now, Simon, and getting even better in terms of her progression and her improvement coming into this race.
The field is nearly at the starting gate. Mentioned the 14 Raging Sea. A lot of times when you get that horse way on the outside, they get forgotten about a little bit. This horse is an attractive price at 9-1. Also comes out of the Alcibiades. Clearly benefited from that race. How much more forward can Raging Sea move today?
I think Raging Sea can take a big step forward. Unfortunately, I mean, if you're drawing post positions, you wouldn't have picked that one. But I think she can take a big step forward. I think it's a vote of confidence that a trainer, Chad Brown, ends up here. 3rd place finish, gets DQ'd for some antics in the stretch, and still decides to come here to the Breeders' Cup. That's a strong vote of confidence from Chad Brown.
Chad Brown was unlucky at the post draw a few times this week. Domestic spending draws all the way outside in the turf mile tomorrow. This filly, I agree, is going to move up by leaps and bounds off that performance in the Alcibiades. But the problem is she's very green. She looked very green in that race. So now you're hanging her all the way outside in terms of the post draw. She was a little warm there. You could see it on her neck. This might be too much too soon for her to contend with the added adversity of an outside post.
All right, Christina, who wins?
Sticking with the 2. You're My Girl, gate to wire.
Simon?
I ended up with the favorite here. Got bet down to 2-1, Chop Chop.
An Eclipse Award most likely on the line to determine the best 2-year-old filly in the country. It's the Net Jets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies here from Keeneland Racecourse. Let's go up to Kurt Becker with the call.
First wire, they are at the post. And they're off in the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. There goes Grand Love from between horses. You're My Girl is there, and here is Leave No Trace moving up on the outside. Grand Love has the lead, though. Leave No Trace goes second. You're My Girl. Third toward the inside. Atomically fourth. Chocolate Gelato 3 wide. In fifth around the first turn. Shoplifter 4 wide in sixth. Almarosa seventh. Raging Sea is eighth. And Tell Me Low Lies is racing along in ninth position early. Chop Chop 3 wide from the back. Moves up from the 10th position around the first turn. Wonder Wheel is near the back of the pack, running in 11th position as they head on to the backstretch and loses a couple of more lengths. Drops out toward the back of the pack with Sabra Tough and Vegas Magic, who's last. Grand Love is the leader. The opening quarter, 22.9 seconds. Grand Love on top by just a length. Leave No Trace is second by a half length. You're My Girl is tucked away neatly toward the inside third. Chocolate Gelato fourth up on the outside. Atomically is fifth. Almarosa and Tell Me No Lies toward the outside. 47.22 seconds for the first half mile. Grand Love leads the field to the far turn by a length. Leave No Trace second, a half length. You're My Girl looking for some running room to the inside. There's Chocolate Gelato. There's Atomically between horses in fifth, running 4 from the front. And Tell Me No Lies midway on the turn is still 5 from the lead. Almarosa toward the inside. Chop Chop is wide, still has 7 to make up. Shoplifter is tucked in between horses. Quarter mile to go. Grand Love, Leave No Trace. They're on even terms. Chocolate Gelato and then Atomically in behind horses. Wonder Wheel has picked up a lot of ground. Scoots up the rail, still third, has to change lanes toward the outside. Leave No Trace. Wonder Wheel has clear running. Wonder Wheel comes storming up on the outside to take the lead in deep stretch. Raging Sea rustling from fourth behind her. Wonder Wheel from deep in the pack to win the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies for Tyler Gaffalione.
Wonder Wheel, remember her? She actually won the Grade 1 Darley Alcibiades. And how about Mark Casse? He knew there was a lot of speed in here. I don't know that he knew for sure Wonder Wheel would rate, but he does know now.
Certainly does. I mean, it's rated nicely, and this was very, very impressive. Trip handicappers, me included, give a lot of credence to the runners up, and the third place finish in that Alcibiades, but much the best here today.
She was sitting third last. Congratulations to Tyler Gaffalione. He gets his first Breeders' Cup victory with this filly here today, and after the meet that he had through the fall, this is exactly why. Threading through traffic, saving ground at the rail. Now he has to figure out where he's going to go. Angles inside once more, cuts every corner he can, and had something left to finish with Wonder Wheel. She did make the lead in the Alcibiades, but those were under very slow fractions. This was a much different pace scenario than she encountered that day. Angles out and storms home to victory.
Yeah, much the best here this afternoon. She exploded. Like, she actually quickened and had a turn of foot here. Big fist pump from Tyler Gaffalione.
We have an isolated look at the trip that Tyler Gaffalione has to figure out here. And, you know, great credit to Leave No Trace, the 13 who got first jump. It looked like she was going to pull off the upset at 25-1. And then Tyler never really stopping the momentum here of Wonder Wheel.
Crazy thing is, I'm just looking at the splits compared to the Alcibiades and today. The opening quarter, the half mile, pretty much the same. A slower 3/4 pace today, but they finished up a little quicker.
Yeah, slower by about a second, yeah. Christina. 1:12.4 versus 1:11.3 last time. When she hit the front, it was up by 3. Today, she goes on with it in a much different fashion, obviously. But that reaction there, Tyler Gaffalione, look, following him in his career out of South Florida, getting to be a Preakness winner, but now on the Breeders' Cup stage, you feel like this is setting the stage for many more days with many more wins at the Breeders' Cup.
He's a rider that holds so many riding titles. He's been riding against these Hall of Famers, whether it be here at Keeneland, whether it be in South Florida at the championship meet at Gulfstream Park, over at Churchill Downs as well, holding his own and leading the pack against some of the best that we have to offer here in America. This feels like it's a long time in coming for Tyler Gaffalione to go home with that first Breeders' Cup victory. I have a feeling he's not done this weekend, that's for sure.
And Wonder Wheel, a Keeneland graduate, performing on the biggest stage, a $275,000 purchase at the Keeneland September sale back in 2021. And this one comes back to Keeneland to get the biggest win of her career, and really Keeneland has provided her with an Eclipse Award. Grade 1 Darley Alcibiades on the resume, and now the Grade 1 NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
Into Mischief, the stallion that just keeps on giving. Trip handicapping? Overrated.
At least it wasn't this race.
Wow.
Everyone forgets about the winner. But how about the other horses who ran big here? Raging Sea did run well.
Held the form, yeah.
But Leave No Trace. I mean, I thought no one was going to get her. She came out of the Frisette. Chocolate Gelato, a non-factor. Fourth in here is the 4, Sabra Tough, at 62 to 1. If you got the superfecta here, your weekend is made at the Breeders' Cup. 5, 13, 14, 4. Big balloons across the board. And then finishing 5th is the 2, You're My Girl, at 8 to 1. Waiting for this race to become official, and Wonder Wheel coming back to the winner's circle for DJ Stable, trainer Mark Casse, and Tyler Gaffleone.
Yeah, I was going to say Mark Casse has been providing Tyler with 2 of his biggest wins, right?
Well, and
Preakness and now.
That's what I was going to say with War of Will.
Yep.
And then DJ Stable, they've been around a long time. This is a big win for them with where they are and owning horses. And 6 to 1 on your winner. As far as the final time, 1 mile and a 16th, 1:44 and 4. People may point to that and question some things here. I'm certain that the boys will go much faster than that. The question is how they will do it, because there was some thought that maybe this track on or near the lead was a good thing. But if you look at the route races on the dirt today, our opener, you look at this one, coming from off the pace, was at a premium.
Yeah, I mean, no question about it, and kind of contrary to what we saw at the fall meet leading up to this weekend. So I thought that was very impressive. Yeah, 1/5 of a second faster than our Alcibiades victory here just about a month ago.
Well, as Eclipse Award voters, you guys, these races make it easy. Wonder Wheel is going to go on to the Eclipse Award as the nation's best 2-year-old filly, and then we start to look to the 3-year-old season, and I think we're going to see a lot of juxtaposition within that division. Those horses trying to get to the Kentucky Oaks. I know Tom Amos has a very good 2-year-old filly and Hoosier filly.
Yeah.
We'll have one more start before the end of the year, and will be one to watch as a 3-year-old. But with Mark Casse, he obviously knows the path to get there. Well, and here's the other thing. They're going to come through Keeneland. They're going to be looking at the Ashland next year.
Right, exactly. I mean, you could hand out the Eclipse Award when you give the Breeders' Cup trophy here in just a minute.
That's right.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone right now.
And as Simon mentioned, a daughter of Into Mischief out of the Tis Wonderful Mare Wonder Gal, bred by Three Chimneys Farm and Clear Sky Farms here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And look at that exhale from Tyler Gaffleone. You said this during the fall meet, Simon. He's always smiling. He could have lost this race in a photo, or he could win in a dramatic fashion like he did. He always comes out smiling.
Yeah, to me, he's the total package. You know, I think it's very important in this day and age of social media and coverage. You got to have just the goods off the racetrack as you do on the racetrack, Christine. It's one thing, you can't just have the talent. You've got to kind of have the whole package now. And he certainly is that. He is that whole package. There's not going to be a headline in tomorrow's paper about something he did off the racetrack. All it's going to be is headlines what he did on the racetrack.
Very professional, very dedicated to his craft. Another one of those riders that focuses on his fitness regime outside of his race routine in the afternoons. And he reminds me a lot in his style and how strong he is when he finishes, like Flavien Prat. They're very much on par, these two, when you watch their style physically. They ride pretty alike to each other.
And the way they approach their business on and off the racetrack, too.
Congratulations to Mr. Leonard Green and his DJ Stable. Wonder Wheel taking the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. You're watching and listening to the Breeders' Cup Players Show.
Lucky Bread in the winner's circle at Lexington.
Incredible victory by Wonder Wheel to take the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. So pleased to be joined by the winning connections here, Leonard and John Green, of course, Mark Casse, Tyler Gaffalione, and for the Winner's Circle presentation and trophy presentation is from NetJets executive Doug Hedeberry.
Hi, on behalf of NetJets, the worldwide leader in private aviation, we're honored to present 2022 NetJets Juvenile Fillies Trophy to Wonder Wheel. Great race. Great race.
Leonard, if I can have a few moments with you, and John, your son. John, you were just telling me that this is 4 decades in the making. Yes, you've experienced it before, but what makes Wonder Wheel in this moment so special?
Well, she's always been so professional, and really from day one, Mark Casse's told us that she's special. As a matter of fact, whenever he's compared another horse to, told us that a horse is good, he said, but not Wonder Wheel good, and that's always been the benchmark for us. So as much as I'd love to say we didn't, surprise that we would win, it's still quite an honor that we won. And I'll tell you, Tyler Gaffalione did a phenomenal job on this filly, of doing everything he needed to do to get her clear. And quite frankly, between his riding and Mark's training, that's why we're standing here.
Describe how special it is to share this moment, though, with your family.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, we joke around with Mom and Dad that we don't even want to buy green bananas anymore because they're so old. But it's great that we got another Breeders' Cup win here at Keeneland, where we've had so many wonderful memories, and hopefully we have another champion, and we'll have a good reason to come back again next year.
And Leonard, how special was that?
Well, it's special to have John take over and then do such a great job that he's doing. Really is.
Done a great job together. Time to celebrate. Incredible performance. And again, a first Breeders' Cup victory for jockey Tyler Gaffalione. Mark Casse, it is all Wonder Wheel in the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
And they're off in the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. There goes Grand Love from between horses. You're My Girl is there, and here is Leave No Trace moving up on the outside. Grand Love has the lead, though. Leave No Trace goes second. You're My Girl. Third toward the inside. Atomically fourth. Chocolate Gelato 3 wide. In fifth around the first turn. Shoplifter 4 wide in sixth. Almarosa seventh. Raging Sea is eighth. And Tell Me Low Lies is racing along in ninth position early. Chop 3 wide from the back. Moves up from the 10th position around the first turn. Wonder Wheel is near the back of the pack, running in 11th position as they head onto the backstretch and loses a couple of more lengths. Drops out toward the back of the pack with Sabra Tough and Vegas Magic, who's last. Grand Love is the leader. The opening quarter, 22.9 seconds. Grand Love on top by just a length. Leave No Trace is second by a half length. You're My Girl is tucked away neatly toward the inside third. Chocolate Gelato fourth up on the outside. Atomically is fifth. Almarosa and Tell Me No Lies toward the outside. 47.22 seconds for the first half mile. Grand Love leads the field to the far turn by a length. Leave No Trace second, a half length. You're My Girl looking for some running room to the inside. There's Chocolate Gelato. There's Atomically between horses in fifth, running 4 from the front. And Tell Me No Lies midway on the turn is still 5 from the lead. Almarosa toward the inside. Chop is wide, still has 7 to make up. Shoplifter is tucked in between horses. Quarter mile to go. Grand Love, Leave No Trace. They're on even terms. Chocolate Gelato, and then Atomically in behind horses. Wonder Wheel has picked up a lot of ground. Scoots up the rail, still third. Has to change lanes toward the outside. Leave No Trace. Wonder Wheel has clear running. Wonder Wheel comes storming up on the outside to take the lead in deep stretch. Raging Sea runs late from fourth behind her. Wonder Wheel from deep in the pack to win the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies for Tyler Gaffalione.
Longines. Daredevil, returning to stud on U.S. soil. The only first-crop sire to see 2 offspring win the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 1 Preakness Stakes in the same year. She dares the devil, taking the Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 2 Azeri Stakes, and champion Swiss Skydiver, winning the Preakness and the Grade 1 Beholder Mile Stakes. With more exciting prospects on the track and multiple 6-figure sales in the ring, Daredevil's career is just getting started, only at Lane's End.
Reach for the unreachable.
race to new horizons. The artisan's quest for beauty burns in the heart of Japan, forging strength like no other, with love and honed to perfection. Noble, authentic, and only here. A legacy of strength.
If this place could talk, it would roar. It would say, this is racing. This beating heart in the heart of horse country. Steady and strong beneath the roar. Reminding us why. For the love of the horse. For generations to come.
At Calumet Farm, we're proud to offer proven stallions to fit every breeder's needs. With over 72 million in progeny winnings on dirt and turf, our diverse roster is producing the champions of today and tomorrow. Calumet Farm, a legacy reborn.
American-based runners have won the last 8 editions of the $1 million Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, highlighted by sparkling performances from Lady Eli in 2014, Rushing Fall in 2017, and Aunt Pearl taking the 2020 race at Keeneland. Last year at Del Mar, Pizza Bianca served up a winner for Bobby Flay and gave trainer Christophe Clement his first ever Breeders' Cup victory. This is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf.
Welcome back to the set here. Future Stars Friday continues. Christina Blacker joined by Simon Bray. And we welcome Rishi Prasad back onto the set as we get set to watch these fillies go the 1 mile journey on the turf course. Rishi, we already have one win for the Europeans on turf today. Are we looking at another one potentially here?
I have a feeling that we'll have a second European winner. There are a number of good horses in the race. There are 5 European runners here. Spirit Gal, Manhattan Jungle, Meditate, Midnight Mile, and Basil Martini, or Basil Martini. I'm not entirely certain which one.
It's 2 against 1, so you guys can say Basil.
Meditate obviously leads the way, Christina, because she has been an outstanding filly for Aidan O'Brien. See, this is a race he is yet to win at the Breeders' Cup, but she brings high-class European form. She was a very good second in the Cheveley Park last time. And her only defeat over 7 furlongs, she's run twice over 7 furlongs, her only defeat came at the hands of a horse called Tahira, who may one day, you may hear about her one day as one of the greats. She's got a high reputation.
Aidan O'Brien mentioned on the Breakfast of the Breeders' Cup show earlier this week that in losing any of these Breeders' Cup races, it makes him want to come back that much more for a win. Do you think he's bringing stronger fillies year after year to try and get that elusive win in this race?
I'm not entirely certain. I believe he's bringing what he believes is his best filly for this race, of all the fillies that he has. He's got a very good bunch of colts. Meditate would be amongst his best fillies. Probably just about his best filly. Certainly sprinting, but the big question about her is whether she can stretch out over a mile. 7 furlongs, she won 1 of her 2 runs over 7 furlongs. The quality of the race wasn't quite what she met when she ran second in the Moy-Glare behind Tahira, and then obviously she sprinted last time out. So even Aidan wasn't entirely certain. Normally, when you ask him about these things, he gives you the, well, we believe.
Right.
But this time he says, can't guarantee that she'll definitely see out the mile here.
Well, and I went to Racelens for quite a few statistics, but one of them that I did pull away was the offspring of No Nay Never going the mile on turf. They're just 1 for 19 2-year-olds here in the U.S. The number is pointing you a little bit more in the direction of Delight. She's the number 9. 10-1 for trainer Jonathan Thomas. He's at 29% in 2-year-old graded stakes races. It's a smaller sampling. He's a young and up-and-coming trainer, worked for Todd Pletcher for a long time, but has had several Grade 1 winners himself. Catholic Boy comes to mind. She was a powerful winner of the Jessamine by 5 lengths, and similar to what we just saw, Simon, with Wonder Wheel, with her last race having been over the course and tour win, Delight would be of that same profile were she to win today. 18 minutes until the juvenile fillies. Let's go into the paddock with Scott Hazelton.
Christina, we're actually under the grandstand here at the Day Chaser Cocktail Bar here at the Breeders' Cup World Championships. It is one of the official sponsors of the Breeders' Cup. Chase the day with Day Chaser Cocktails, the official ready-to-drink canned cocktail of the Breeders' Cup. And it's available in a variety of vodka soda, tequila soda options. Day Chaser is made with real fruit juice and sparkling water, perfect for a summer day out at the races. Check out daychaser.com to find stores near you, or just come down here underneath the grandstand and grab yourself one, which we have. We're going with the vodka soda cranberry, just 100 calories. Hopefully I'll see you for the last here at the Breeders' Cup World Championships on this Friday.
Grab me a cucumber one, Scott.
What's the Buddha berry?
I don't know what a Buddha berry is.
That's new. Rishi, you've been trying all the American cocktails, the spirits. Are you up for a Day Chaser?
If there's no bourbon, then I'm not interested.
True Kentuckian by the end of the week. Here's a look at Delay. She's just a striking filly, a daughter of, I split my page, Mendelssohn. His offspring really have excelled as the distances have progressed, and he did well in the Breeders' Cup himself, Simon.
Yeah, got off to a good start here in the U.S., Mendelssohn, with some of his early runners. I mean, he really made a splash here. You know, Justify him were both very, very active with their early runners here. Look, Delight absolutely got a chance in here at 10-1. I went with Meditate, but it wasn't a heavy, you know, single in here. I would spread. I used some coverage. I thought Pleasant Passage, the 5, out of the North American horses. That ground was bottomless by U.S. standards last time out, Richie, for the 5. It says yielding. It was very deep. It was very soft. I think you're going to see a horse that doesn't need to be on the lead.